I'm making 3 videos in 1 week. I don't know what's going on. I guess there's a lot happening. I'm back under the chestnut. And yesterday, I didn't find any nuts. And I was starting to think, maybe it's starting to wind down already, even though the season shouldn't have even begun yet. But I didn't give up hope. Today has been an incredible day. And I want to tell you a little something not related to chestnuts for just a minute. Which is about as long as anyone seems to watch these videos according to YouTube. I found out early this morning that the estate of Freddie Mercury, the singer from Queen who is no longer with us, is selling his record collection. And in that listing of records that he owned is my biggest hit. And I can't tell you how that makes me feel. It's just amazing to think that he was listening to my music. There's a message in that I want to share with you, especially if you're one of my younger viewers. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you can't achieve something. Don't let anyone discourage you, no matter what it is that you're doing. Even looking for viable chestnuts when you're beside the only tree around. So anyways, late last night there was a torrential rainstorm with wreck house winds. And I woke up at 4:30 in the morning like a kid at Christmas. I couldn't wait to get out here because I figured that these winds that thankfully are still blowing right now to keep all the mosquitoes at bay, so I don't have to be dressed like I'm an astronaut. I just knew that those winds in combination with the rain would drive. There's a mosquito, there you go. As soon as the wind slows down, I knew that they would knock down at least one. And so I got out here long before the sunrise. It was still pretty dark. And I found 2 beautiful chestnuts. And the smaller of the 2 is as big as the biggest so far of the other 3. And then there's this beautiful one that is pretty close to as big as these American chestnuts get. When I say pretty close, I say compared to the other ones. The biggest I've ever gotten is maybe 50% larger than that. But this one is, I have no doubt that this one is going to be a tree next year. In fact, I'm pretty sure both of them will. So I've been coming and looking all day long, and I haven't found any more yet. But I dragged out my really long lens, and look at what I saw. So there is still a lot going on up there. And so the 3 that I found, the 3 husks, I've taken them back to the workshop for safekeeping. And I think that maybe we should go over there now and see what's inside them. Fingers crossed. Okay, so here we've got the 3 that I found today. and I'm going to start with the smallest one. I think, based on my previous experience, that the probability of finding viable ones based on these sizes is 5% for the small one, maybe 15% for this one, probably 10. Let's be generous and say 15. And for this one, 50%. So let's start with this one. I used to do this with my fingers, but I'm tired of hurting myself. So I'm going to use this little spatula and dig it open. There's actually two halves. I'm used to finding the center line, as you can see. And now I'm just going to pop it open. I'm trying not to harm it because the one in the center, which is exactly where I'm prying, is the one that has the most chance of being full-sized. And as you can see, it's not. That's a dud on the one side. That's the dud in the middle. I'll pry it out so you can see the third. There's always three. There's the third one buried in there. I'll just dig it out just so you can see it. There it is. Speaking of which, this is a great opportunity. It flew across the workshop. Okay, well, I can get this one out easier. Hopefully it won't fly away. There we go. This is a good opportunity to discuss this. The fact that in each one there are three. And although the other side one flew away, they're identical, they're just bookends. So you can see it's kind of hard to tell because they're so small. Maybe we'll try it on one of these bigger ones. But the idea is that the one in the middle is more like a triangle, a perfect triangle. And the one on the end is sort of rounded to go around the one that was in the middle. And so, anyways, 5% didn't work. So, let's move on to the next one. This one is convenient that it's starting to age, and so you can see clearly that one side is brown and the other side is still partly green. So it's easy to see that dividing line there. So we'll just get this into there, and just like on the last one, I'm putting most of my energy at getting through near the top where it's not going to damage the nut if it's intact in there. So I'm going right through, there we go. And now I'm going to just pry it open, there we go. So was this one our lucky one? And the answer is no. Exactly the same. There's the middle one. And I'm not going to bother digging them out, but you can see there's one on each side. So let's see, do we have any luck at all? There we are again, perfect visual of the divider. Again, conveniently brown and green. But again, I'm giving this a generous 50%, but it's probably more like 40%, maybe even 30%, because these aren't that big. But this one's getting there. So let's see. Are we in luck? Please be lucky. No, it's another dud. Well, we didn't get much luck today. But, that being said, it wasn't a washout because I found some nuts. And we got to see that there's plenty more at the top of the tree. This one's a little uncharacteristic, that this end one is slightly more developed than the center one. It's usually the center one that's the most developed. But it doesn't matter because these are all sterile. They're flat. It's no good. But there's so many still at the top of the tree that there's still a good chance that I'm going to find lots more. At least a few more. Even one more would be great. But what I wanted to say about this little distribution is, unfortunately I couldn't show you with this, but as I said, usually it's the center one that's most likely, if there's only one to develop, that it would be the center one. And so the distribution, as you see, is 2 to 1. There's 2 bookends and 1 center one. And so if you have a chestnut tree and you're scouring around looking for viable nuts, keep track of how many of the center ones you find, because clearly it should be about 2 to 1. You should find one of these for every 2 of these. And if you're not finding enough of these, you don't have to be meticulous about it, but just sort of keep an idea of, have I seen any center ones today? And if you're not seeing any center ones, that could be a good sign. If your tree is huge like mine that you can't see up to the top, to be able to see what's going on up there, it might be that the nuts have opened, the husks have opened, and that the sterile ones on the end have fallen out, but the center one is still being developed up there. And so you may yet be able to find viable ones. Just something to keep in mind. Anyways, I guess that, as they say, is that. This has been an incredible day, a wonderful day in so many ways.